How's the wooden car?
Did everybody sign in?
Oops.
These are not on because Josh is
Yeah,
not
you
there.
got word from
So everybody's gonna have to talk loud.
where.
Is there anything additional?
Okay. That's okay. Ain't useful for anything. Still.
6:02. Yeah, oh wait. Thanks. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Saratoga Town Board meeting. Please stand so we can say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. All right, the first thing on the agenda is the joint developer agreement for the solar farm, for the Saratoga Solar. And we have with us Larry Konopacki, our attorney out of Madison. So we're gonna do this first so that he can be on his way and get back halfway before it's dark. So go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, this is, we're not using mics tonight, right?
No,
Okay, so this is, almost exactly the same as was presented in the last public meeting, and discussed. The addition of note is we filled in the provision on, snowmobile routes. Came up with a requirement that the developer will work with the town and the local, Rome Club, to attempt to at least connect that snowmobile route along the west side of this project. It'll take some coordination with a couple other parties because the project doesn't have all of that access, but that's really the difference in this. So the agreement is very similar to what was entered into for the previous project. There's some, every time you watch a project use an agreement, you figure out what worked and what didn't, so we've done a few tweaks. We will get a elevated stand for someone to come and view the site, which didn't happen the first time, even though that was our intent, and I took credit for poorly wording that section. There's a number of things like that that are small changes. The other change that is of note, things have changed both with that Wood County project and with this project. Since you made your decision as a town on that with respect to battery storage. Battery storage was something that wasn't planned in the Wood project when the decision was made. But it quickly became something that was, going to be a part of that project, and it was right from the beginning in this project, it was part of that. The town did retain the services of an expert on this out of UW-Madison, who looked at the types of systems that are being used for battery storage now, and helped us to develop this language that you see on the bottom of page 5 and the top of page 6. It isn't something that, so this is different again than the Wood County project, although the Wood County project is in the process of amending, utilizing that provision to have, there will be battery storage in both projects. There's a secondary containment provision here as it relates to potential accidents or problems with that system. And there is some requirement that the town be engaged by the developer with respect to battery storage systems once they decide what kind of system they're going to use. This is all changing, the technology is changing very rapidly. But we have a pretty good idea of what will be used based on the interactions we've had and the information that was provided. And again, our energy expert looked at this and saw no reason to be more, to require more than what was in here, than what is in here with respect to protections. With that, I take some anybody's questions, and I know we have one comment about wording change.
Yeah, so the first one would be about damage done to the roadways. We just kind of discussed a bit, but I'd like to see in that to include any damage to the ride or subways along with that, not just running off surface. So what was the wording we came up with on there?
And I'll talk through that. So everyone knows the way the highway use agreement works is there's two designated road sections in the neighborhood of about 3/4 of a mile total. And those are on page 25 of the agreement shown in green. And those are the segments of road that the project is allowed to use with heavy traffic. And for the rest of the town roads, nothing over 48,000 pounds is allowed. So those are the heavy routes to get to 13, and those are the exclusive heavy routes to get to 13. And the way the agreement is drafted, there's going to be an evaluation of the road condition in the, before construction begins, before tree clearing begins, before heavy traffic would be on those roads. And then after construction is complete, the project is required to return those roads to the condition that they were in the initial stages. The change is what I think we realized with the Wood County project is that they really only looked at the surface condition and not the road base, and also the ride quality of the road. And so the proposal is on page 22, paragraph 4, after the first sentence, which says following issuance of a permit to proceed with construction being issued by the PSC, developer will engage a professional engineer to prepare an initial condition report on all town roads designated as permanent highway town segments. What we would add is this initial condition report shall include evaluation of road surface condition, road base condition, and overall quality of vehicle ride. So what we're asking is that when the roads are evaluated to determine what work needs to be done to return them to their condition, that you look at a full view of that, the characteristics of that road, not just the surface quality of the hard surface.
Yeah. Right. I did actually have another question too. Revenue guarantee on here. Has that wording changed from the previous?
I don't recall that wording changing, no. There's some typos and some clarifications, but I don't recall that. Not in substance.
Okay. So are we still looking at, I haven't seen in any here when the first payment would come. Are we looking at 12 months still, same as what the first project was from substantial completion?
It's from operation.
Okay.
Do you remember when that would have been you?
We got the dates. We got the dates now.
I think it was early December.
I know it was late in the year.
Yeah.
Very.
And there was only partial operation, I think, even at that point, but you still got the payments.
Okay.
And just so everyone knows, this revenue guarantee provision, what the question was about is the state pays a PILT, a payment in lieu of taxes. Project doesn't pay property taxes, but the state makes a payment for any energy generating facilities. And this provision, this revenue guarantee, says that if that ever goes away, they still pay. You're kind of banking on that. So if the state were to repeal that law or reduce the payment that comes to the town through that law, the owner of the project would still pay at using the same formulas that determine what that payment is today.
And then I don't have a map on me that actually shows the battery storage, I believe that was kind of going in the back corner of the property.
Northwest.
Yeah,
Kind of in between the two projects.
it's,
Or butting up to it.
it's right next to, it's right next to the substation.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's on, yeah.
It's near the high voltage line.
Yeah,
They use this
on like
one
the northwest, not even the corner,
right there.
yes. Yes, sir, right there.
Yeah, and my concern there is,
And this is the high voltage.
you know, as you get publicity over the years of all these electric cars that have gone up in flames and stuff like that, is there gonna be clear access for, fire protection?
Absolutely.
Is this scenario where wildfires can spread very quickly?
Yeah, no, there'll be, sorry.
And being on the backside of the property, it'd be nice to have something denoted, a very nice, clear path where they can get to it, and
And what we've been presented before, that one of the main access roads in the property goes directly from 13 to Wilson.
and underneath the transmission
Maybe
lines, are
just
those
the
gonna stay
primary.
clear as well, or?
There's nothing on this project site that extends to the transmission.
Was there any on the other project? No?
We didn't have, they don't have any authority to access that.
Okay, so under an emergency situation, that could probably still be accessed.
Good.
Well, 'cause that's a change.
Oh, yeah, there was a change too, I believe I requested that, they came after the fact, last time to ask for permission to put a high cap well in of 350 gallons per minute, or what was that? Yeah, 350 gallons per minute. And you guys did include that as a change to this one, so we don't have to hash that out afterwards.
Yeah, and this is a different situation, I should have mentioned that. There's existing walls in this case, so that was changed too, to deal with those.
Yeah.
So basically, what we incorporated here was the amendment that the town board adopted with respect to that construction well being larger. And then the other thing is, there was some frustration, I think, about the location of that well, when it was, because it was built without consultation. In fact, it was built without, in violation really of the agreement, because they shouldn't have built a well that big. The town board did amend the agreement to
To allow it.
allow that, but I think there was some frustration that had that communication happen, there would have been some input by the town as to where the best location for that well was, and so this requires that consultation.
So is there one or two high capacity wells? This is the Walasix tree farm, correct? Are they gonna be removed or will they stay?
Yeah, there's,
Sorry to put you on
no,
the
it's okay,
spot.
I'm trying to rack my brain. We were talking about it.
I think they're in the middle of where those center pivots were before. but
Yes, they are.
I've never, yeah. I've
Yeah,
never-
they're in the middle of those
Right.
pivots, but, I can't remember if if we talked about the permit for those wells, like after they're done, that they're being capped, is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
If they're abandoned, they can keep one of the wells and use it if they choose to. If they install any well over 50 gallons per minute, they have to cap all of them.
Do you know the current capacity of those wells that are there?
we can find out from the DNR because I'm on Walasix property.
And that reminds me that another difference that was, I think, important to folks in the town is that upon approval of this, the project will be issuing a letter formally rescinding the building permit for the Golden Sands Farm. Not that we think that there's legal authority for that permit to be used, but never hurts to put something to bed and tuck into this.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then I only had one other question. Now, this map we have, this is where the solar panels are going here, correct?
That is our current base case. I mean, I don't really see it changing.
Okay. What is planned for buying land that's not having solar panels on that's denoted for?
We would just release it. So it's right now, it's under a purchase option, so
Okay,
the project would essentially take what is needed to host the panels, and then
Okay.
there's no sense in paying for,
Properties you're not gonna use.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then the only other question involving that too, you got a buffer zone on the north end here, I believe that's in the back. I don't see anything on the side of the property going toward, towards these other properties as well.
There's a buffer required around the entire site.
Okay.
And before we get to that, the agreement does allow the developer to shrink the footprint of the capital P project site, consistent with what Eric just said. So that if this applies to the project site, and if they don't use some of that land, to your previous question, they can shrink the site. But they can't shrink the site so much that they don't have, to transition into your next question, that they don't still have a buffer.
Okay.
And there is, however, a deeper buffer. on the
Concern
north.
is
Yes.
this stretch right here. I saw that it's denoted up here for a 300-foot buffer. This side stretch, it looks like they're bringing that fence right along that property line.
It's not, it can't be along the property line, it has to have a 50-foot setback buffer on all sides.
Is that what's required of this?
There's a deeper buffer to that north side, to
Because
the east of 13.
Okay, but 50 foot is what's required. Okay.
Is that deeper buffer because of the houses? Because of the
Yeah,
residential property?
there were concerns raised, and it really wasn't about the noise of construction, it's more about noise coming from the south of the property, I think from the Rome shooting range down there.
Oh, okay, all right.
You
And,
accommodated, thank you.
and I think the idea was that they weren't showing panels there,
Okay,
so it could have been a lay-down yard, it could have been, just a place to park things, they could have cut all those trees. So that since there wasn't any panels showing in that spot, the request was, we'll just leave it as trees.
Is there a plan to, on 13 there, put some signs up as far as trucks entering highway or anything along those lines? That's a very busy corridor there, it might be good to have some.
yeah, I'm not the construction person, but I definitely talk to them. I mean, I would think that's pretty standard, but if not, that shouldn't be,
Yeah,
Too big
a
of a
couple
request.
signs shouldn't be a big request.
yeah. So, yeah, I can definitely talk to our team. I don't know if that's already in the plan, if not,
I think public safety would
Yeah.
probably be good to have some warning through there.
yeah.
I think that's my concerns for the most part in here.
Roger, did you have a
I read the agreement, I didn't see anything else.
Other than that one change, I guess we're good.
Madam Chair, would you entertain any questions from the proletariat?
You guys finished? Yes, go ahead.
I have one concern,
Sure,
and Bruce Demick,
thank you.
5821 Church Avenue. I have one concern, I had the same concern with the first solar project, and by the way, I'm very much pro solar, so don't get me wrong. But the payments to the town, they sound great, but there's no escalator for inflation. And 20
Do you mind
years
if I
from,
interrupt it just for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah, please
The
do.
state actually did increase those payments in the last budget here. So there is some escalation that the state can do, and they have done, actually. So those payments are gonna be higher than we originally had thought.
Substantially higher.
Yeah, I think it went from 250 to, was it 300?
325.
25? So there is some mechanism for that to increase. Sorry, go on.
no, that was my beef,
Okay.
and it looks like,
Looks like the state's taking care of us for change,
And
right?
the amount of those payments, those payments are designed, were designed when the types of energy generation really created more of an impact on the community. You had big smokestacks, lots of people in and out, trucks in and out, hauling coal, you know, those kinds of things, train traffic. And it's almost just, the reason we've got that protection of continued payment in this agreement is really the impacts of a solar farm are very different,
Yes,
far less than those impacts of some of those, in terms of noise, potential EMS, potential emergency services, those kinds of things. So it's really a kind of hanging on the shirt tails of other kinds of energy generation where the payments are far, far more than would be paid in property tax.
And as far as that goes, those amounts are denoted by the state, but not by us or the developer at that point, so. There's little we could do on either direction, to be honest.
It's the equivalent of a lot of economic development in town in terms of that change they did. with the legislature.
We would also be looking, after this is kind of complete, we're gonna look at writing an ordinance for wind, so that we have something on our books. Yes, Bill?
So Madam Chair, you're still taking questions?
Yes, sir.
Bill Lightnum, 13413 Hollywood Road.
Thank you.
With that escalator that I wasn't aware of to the town of Saratoga, going from 250,000 to 345, is that what I heard?
325.
325.
Yes.
What's the escalator to the county?
I believe the percentage is the same, it's just that total volume, and we get 40%, the county gets 60%.
Yeah, let's look at
So
40,
that-
60, yeah.
So it's the same percentage that went up.
I can figure it out.
Yep. So, Bruce, did you have anything else before?
no,
Just wanna make
that
sure.
was my
Okay.
only beef, and it looks like it's been
Yes,
taken care of,
Douglas?
at least for now.
Well, who knows where it'll go in the future.
So, earlier I heard you talk about battery. Is there a containment vessel
Yes.
around that?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is, second question, Blue Ridge, is that one of your haul roads?
That's the
Yeah.
south, this is south.
Blue Ridge Lane, there's about a half-mile stretch on Blue Ridge.
It is.
And about
Yes.
a quarter
The
mile
first
on
stretch.
Tower.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
first
see, my
stretch.
concern there is that the vision coming down the hill, you got a lot of trucks coming in and out of there. There should be a deceleration lane on 13.
Can we put some flashing lights up during
Well,
the?
that's a DOT thing, and we can't do that, but I can tell you that's a dangerous, for your folks alone, trying to make that, slow down and make that turn, because they come over that hill, they can't see. I think if you look at it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Can we talk to the DOT and tell them what our concern is
You
and?
know,
Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know how to navigate that, but like,
You can always ask.
yeah,
you're gonna have some you could potentially have some major problems.
yeah.
Yeah,
We obviously don't want anyone getting hurt.
You're coming down in a valley from both sides on 13, and then you're actually coming down on Blue Ridge.
Well, the other side, you got guardrail and stuff, so it's gonna be hard to get that, but
Well, yeah,
heading south and turning to the right on the Blue Ridge, there should be something, at least if you had that, you can get the trucks out of the way if you had something major coming from the other ways.
And the trucks are, I doubt the DOT is going to want to install like a turn lane.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
Because-
Acceleration lane.
Right, because, the trucks will really only be, it's gonna be a short period of time during that construction.
They could do
I'm
a
thinking of
temporary-
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Oh,
of a
okay.
flashing
If
yellow
they could do
caution
that,
sign.
Lights. I didn't-
Yeah, like a caution sign that flashes yellow.
But it doesn't hurt to ask,
Right.
talk to the region.
So who needs to ask those pertinent questions then, so that we get it covered and get it right?
that would probably come from the developer. Talking to the
I would
DOT
pass it
about that.
on.
But that's a major concern for me. I've seen a lot of things go on there when you guys were building the other one, I didn't like it.
Understand.
Yeah, because the
I don't want
DOT's gonna
anybody
wanna
to
talk
hurt.
to the ones actually doing the work
Yeah.
and making sure.
I can, we have regular meetings with our engineering construction team. Sure, this is not the first time I've dealt with a turn off like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me talk to them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because
Yeah,
we don't know those roads like.
You could do a temporary one if you had to. It'd be nice if it were permanent, but
Yeah.
temporary better.
Okay. All right. Anyone else in the audience have any questions? All right, I think we're good
So are you looking for a motion to approve
With the change
with
that
the
you,
change.
change? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the developer agreement for the Saratoga Solar project with the understanding that the changes are made to the
road use agreement.
road
Highway
use
use
agreement.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase and a second by Roger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No one against, so motion passes. Thank you.
So Chair, I'll make those changes and send it back to you and to the developer. They'll have to take a look at it, and
All right,
so there's nothing to execute just yet.
all right, thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for driving all this way.
Yeah, you bet.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, drive safe.
Do you have any more questions for us at all?
No, I
Okay.
was just gonna hang around and see if anyone had questions at the end.
All right, update since the previous meeting, constable report, our constable is not here this evening, but we have a couple issues that have been brought forward. Oh, yes, yeah, why don't we let Doug talk, because I know he wants to skip out of here, so,
All
I'm
right.
sorry, go ahead, Doug.
Do you want to talk about the issue we had on Ranger Road?
Yes, please.
Okay, we did get a call from Don
Dan Walters.
Hanhout, okay. And he had some incorrect information, which is typical. He thought the road was going up 8 inches, it's going up 4 inches. We put 2 inches of gravel on and 2 inches of asphalt. The footprint of the road will not change. It'll still be a 22-foot map with a 2-foot shoulder, so that's what's on there now. He had some concerns on water, which I was over there and I actually talked to him today just before I come again. I'm gonna go meet with him again. He was talking about the water issues when we had high groundwater, which is totally different than this project, so.
Did
Still
he have
navigating through
issues
that.
in his house during,
What's
did he
that?
have issues in his house during?
No, he didn't. He said the water come from an inch, back when we had the high water, it came within an inch coming into his house or something like that, but, he's off. We're still navigating through, he wants to talk again, so I'll probably be stopping there again this week and I'll come back tomorrow and we'll talk about that here also.
Does he have a basement or a
No,
slab?
it's on a slab.
Slab?
Water should run around. He talked about in January, February, when the grounds froze. He says the water sits in his front yard, and it has. It's still well. That we aren't changing his yard.
Okay,
The watershed's his direction anyway, it's going towards that.
Yeah. So we're not,
Back there.
like I told him today, the footprint of that road is staying the same, it's not changing. So
and he actually has 2 ditches, one on each side of his property, right?
Yeah, he's gonna, when we talked today, he said he cut down some trees.
Yes.
His plan is to regrade that so the water will run out of his front next year, so,
Okay,
we're moving peacefully forward on that.
great.
Okay.
Thank you. On the advice of the attorney, though, we're supposed to document what.
Yep, I'll come
We
in
have him.
tomorrow and we'll talk about that, I have no problem with that. I talked to Roland on paving, they're behind, I'm not real happy with what's going on there, but, a week from this Friday, they're going to shape on Friday and Monday and pave on Tuesday, so. that'll
So
be-
next week, Friday.
No, the following week.
Oh, 2
That'll be the
weeks,
first
yeah.
of October.
Oh, that's changed since Monday, then I just talked to him on Monday, and he sounded like they were planning
Yeah, he
to
must
do it
have
this
the
week.
wrong, no, they're,
Okay,
what happened is they have, coming from W, and their concrete has cured enough where they can pave there now.
okay.
Obviously, priorities on that is a little higher than what we have, so
Yeah.
that's where they're at.
You think we should put something on Facebook, because we've been telling the people the middle of September, and
Yeah,
now we change
I
it?
kinda told them that, I said,
Okay.
you're
I'll let
kind
you
of,
do it. We can-
actually, that was supposed to be paved the first of the month. I know when I got back from vacation.
Seventh
but
or something.
I realize things happen.
Yeah.
It's what it is, but,
With all this rain we've been having, I can see where they got set back.
well, the other thing I thought about, and I didn't ask them, I should have, I'm wondering if they paid through them 100-degree weather days.
Oh,
Probably not.
not.
Oh, I doubt they did, most of the
Yeah,
contractors
and
up
I'm
there.
thinking that, I gave them the benefit of the doubt on that. So
Well, nobody wanted to
so
be.
that's where we're at with that. Shaping, not this Friday, the following, and paving the Tuesday after, because I'm taking 2 days to shape that. They do have the driveways cut. The culvert pipe is in on, what's that one your brother lives on?
So it's just off 13, a quarter mile off 13.
Yeah, anyway, we had some puddling of water on the south side of the road, so we put 2 drainage pipes and then we're running it to the north. And that's installed, and I see they seeded it.
You're talking to Carl Green when you're running it out to his,
Yeah,
pro-
I
okay.
talked to Carl and he was
Yeah.
fine with that.
He's got a ditch that runs to the back
Yeah.
of his
Yeah.
property.
So we should be
Okay,
good with that.
all right. We got rid of all of our stuff, right, on the
Yeah,
auction
the,
site?
The
We did
loader
really
went
well.
for 40, don't quote me on this, I thought the loader went for like 43 or 44.
I thought it was like 47.
Could be.
We got a pretty good price.
In the
That
last,
it didn't pay to let that sit in the barn.
in the last, hour of the auction, we did
Always.
extremely well.
I've watched them.
Yeah.
They'll sit there, and then pretty
So,
soon they'll start popping. And
it
I
was
know
nice.
Caston had called me and he said, and I think I called you. He says,
Yeah.
And I said to him when he called me, I said, that you're gonna get over that, but
Yeah.
I'll make sure that we're doing it. And he wanted to know if he could take less than 40. I said, you're not gonna get there, but okay. And I think the cat went for 17,000.
I think he said 18 on that.
I thought that was great for that.
Yeah,
I thought even the patrol truck for 4 was pretty good, to be honest. I was
Yeah,
expecting
they're
about
not-
2,500 on that, so.
So everything was sold and now we start over again.
you know, that's okay. It's okay, get rid of the junk and get some good stuff. I'm good with that. Thank you. Anything else that you want to let us know?
No, do you have anything for me?
No, we gotta do pacer reading soon, and I think we got it set up, so Caston, you, and myself will be, doing the pacer readings.
I applaud these folks for doing their own pacer rating. When you do pacer rating, that's how we rate and organize our roads in a sequence on how we repair them. And the chairman and the road guy are both, took classes for that, which is good. So, and they'll see a lot of roads. I know when I did it when I was commissioner, I like to rate my own roads because I knew what I had then. When somebody talked about something, I was physically there and kind of knew. When you put that number on paper, it makes you visualize what you have, so that's a good thing.
I'm kind of excited and kind of nervous because I should know this, but I hope I,
You'd be surprised how many people think that they're doing it wrong, but if you do it the way you're trained,
okay.
you can be with 0.5% of everything. When we used to train, another guy used to come with me, his name, John Peckham.
Oh, yeah,
And he'd sit on one side and I'd say, now, don't tell me how you're gonna rate this until we're done with the road and put your number down. And by the end of that, we were within 0.5% or
Oh.
1.5 of each other, so.
oh, good, I hope,
It's a good system. I'm not so sure they do have a system to, do your maintenance on. And some roads are so far out of shape, it's hard to implement that until you get caught up somewhat, so.
we're working on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Doug?
Right.
Douglas, I think you're excused, you can go.
I'm gonna go.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks for staying. All right, and let's get back to the constable's report. Did Brandon leave anything other than this one complaint we got here? Oh, okay,
And that was just because I thought they were coming to the meeting
yeah.
tonight, so.
And is anyone here that has concerns about a property at 9303 Pine Street? No concerns, okay, we're not gonna discuss it then because it's gonna be on the next agenda. Just to give you guys the general overlay is that we've had problems with a gentleman in the neighborhood and it's becoming a real eyesore and the neighbors are complaining a lot. And we've followed through with citation, now we're heading towards an abatement, so we really don't wanna go that way, because the last one cost us $5,000, but, in the interest of the neighborhood, it looks pretty bad. So, we'll see what happens. They were going to come tonight, but without Brandon being here, I told him that he would not be here and that I suggested they come the next night, or the next meeting, so that's what's gonna happen. All right, so that being said, building inspector, I know Josh isn't here. Let's see what's going on with him. I haven't really heard anything bad. I know he's got 3 new houses, because they were sitting on the desk, so still building houses, which is a good thing. Kind of scary this time of year, but if they can get them enclosed before winter, then they can continue working on them through the winter. Zoning administrator, you all know that our new administrator is Rose M. Rose. And she met with the plan commission and the plan commission has assigned her a duty already to help write and, the mobile home recreational vehicle, separating those 2 ordinances so that we can get them both into shape because they're quite old. So they have assigned her that task and she's asked a couple questions, but she's been doing a lot on her own, so thinking that's gonna work out really, really well. Road crew, plan commission. All right, Josh isn't here, but Roger and I were both at the last plan commission meeting. See, going forward, we're looking at the old town hall. So the original town hall is located over on Highway 13 South, and the owner is willing to give it to the town or Wakely, but it has to be moved. In order to move it from that site over to Wakely, just to move it, we had an offer from a mover in the town, and he's gonna do it at a reduced rate of $13,000. However, that doesn't include moving all the power lines. Now we're up to almost $50,000. But we do have another idea of panelizing the house. And the plan commission has asked that the board to see if the town will pay for it. And I have contacted the attorney and I did bring this forward at the meeting and asked if that was a possibility, and our attorney said no, because you're using town's money to pay for a private entity's building, basically. So then today I had a conversation with our attorney and I said, okay, can we give them a donation? And he said, yes. As long as they are a historical museum and they are a 503c non-profit organization. So we will be bringing that forward as soon as we have more information. It has to come to a electors vote, which would be the next meeting that we would have would be the budget meeting. So we're trying to get all the paperwork in line so that everybody can make an informed decision. So that's just kind of being talked about, just put it out there. Also at the plan commission, they asked me how I was doing at the, on the zoning ordinance, and you will now see that it is online. I just put it online this morning because I was ready to put it online Monday, but when I sent it to Paulette, it scrambled. And kind of broke my computer because now I can't copy anything. But anyway, she has it, it's online. The only piece of information that is still needed is I have to go through and tell the plan commission what information that has to be that I added. That's what they wanted to know. So I will send that to them. And then I will also send it to the board. And if you all want to view it online, please feel free and give me your feedback. If you're going to give me feedback on punctuation and spacing and that kind of thing, I kind of know the spacing is off, and I've been reviewing that. However, if there is a verbiage in there that you think doesn't belong in there or that you heard different, please let me know. Let me know and then copy Paulette. So there are 2 sets of ears on that, so. That should be on the October 4th agenda. So you have plenty of time to look at it, and you're gonna see that the format is a little different. Hopefully it's a little more comfortable reading. So, what held me up were the graphs. I had to have help, so. Anything else that you can think of that went on at the Plan Commission, Roger? Did I cover everything, Eddie?
Yeah.
All right. Clerk.
Same old day to day.
Every day is a learning day, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right. Treasurer. Billy Joe.
Have nothing other than the budget's coming up and,
That's scary, isn't it?
yep, the taxes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully things go as planned, nice and level. All right, informational announcements by board members. Roger, what would you like to talk about today?
Well, there was an email that come through Paulette, our town clerk, in regards to the Rouge development to the south. Some violations there, questions and violations the way it looks with open mining and
Okay.
removing fill and adding what looks like some of its clean refuse and other refuse into a pit. That was referred to through the town, and also the DNR is involved, so if anybody wants to look at that letter the way it's written, it's available through the town.
I don't have that.
You don't have it?
Paulette,
The
did you get it?
information that I received was printed.
Okay,
Okay,
so that come from, so however you wanna handle it, that's,
yeah, you can forward it to all of us if you'd like, Roger. That would be great. Anything else?
yeah, we had the community wildfire protection meeting with Amy Penn and Lorelei on that committee. And we're gonna meet on October 23rd to work with Amy in regards to some grant writing procedures. Like I said, reference to the town that you might wanna consider adding some line item in there on that budget for any work that might need to be done in that regard. We live in a tinderbox in the town of Saratoga, along with the town of Rome. And we really need to take a look at working through that process and to protect our township and its residents. And then I received some calls on questions in regards to the zoning ordinance and when that will come back on the minutes, which you referenced, October 4th, and the finish date of that. So that's all I have.
Beat you to that one, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right. How about you, Chase?
Not really a whole lot. I did, bring back up the camera system and took a second look at that, which came to the same conclusion that we're discussing it later, so. Otherwise, I did meet up with Roland at the Counties Association Convention on Monday, and I did talk to him with the Ranger Road project about bumping the gravel driveways, doing a 1-foot bump out of it. So I'm going to have that on to try to protect that from eroding.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Back on. So he said that was no problem, wouldn't really increase with very little tonnage, so we'll be adding that into to it, but, that's about it.
All right, well, thank you, both you guys. I have a couple things. Number one, we just had the water heater, the new water heater installed over at the hall. We opted to go with a power vent, 50 gallon. It seemed like the cheapest alternative of all of them. Replacing like for like, except adding the power vent to keep the energy costs down. Number two, Kester Road, we're gonna be working on that during the winter. We're going to have some engineering done and fix that road. It's been on the docket now for years, and I think we gotta do something with it because it's becoming a problem with the, one parcel owner selling off parcels continuously after the road ends. And we have to address how they can access their property. Then what else? The sign. Oh, yes. So everyone knows that we've been looking at possibly putting a sign out here, and we now have a couple depictions. And I would like to have people kind of take a peruse at them. So I'm going to actually hand this around, but I do need it back because it's the only one I got. And please take a gander. So the one that Bruce is holding is the finished project. However, it does have a planter under, but we cannot afford the planter right away. Oh, I'm sorry. So this sign, we've been getting quotes on signs around, and they've been anywhere from 45 to 62,000. This one has come in at about 37 approximately. He gave me a wrong quote tonight, so I can't really say, but I think it's gonna be around 37. And Alliant is helping us out with that. And they are giving us how much?
15.
They are giving us 15 towards the sign, so that was really helpful. And I hope everybody likes it, and if you don't, please tell me what your suggestions would be. I think it pays homage to the rural character of Saratoga, our sign. It also has a planter, the women that do flowers, I'm sorry. Thank you, Roger. The master gardeners have offered to put flowers and plantings in there every year for us. And we will, on the planter itself, my idea was to actually have a concrete, paying homage to Alliant, putting concrete on there. But until that gets done next year, having the sign rotate, thanking Alliant. So that's kind of my idea, but we'll see going forward. I'd like to get Roger's input and who else did we talk? Gordy?
Gordy was involved.
Yeah, so meet and kind of go over it, but what do you guys think?
How much lettering can you get on the sign?
A lot, a lot.
Because I saw the welcome, but obviously.
Yeah,
you're gonna
obviously,
be
the
putting-
reason it's in color, it's depicting that you can put all colors on it. And I believe it's approximately 6 feet. And where it would go is, there's a power pole by the driveway out here. When you're leaving, you'll see the power pole. It will go 15 feet that way of the power pole. And when they came out here, you can see it a long ways, that way and this way. And these signs are sized for how far away that you can visually read it and see it on the property. So the other thing was getting power to this. Because if we bring power from this building, we have to cross a pressurized gas line, our septic tanks, our sprinkler system underneath the road. So I asked the electrician how much would it cost to drop a meter box right at the base, a 200 amp meter box. We need two 30 amp breakers for this, one for each, the top and one for the bottom. And then within there, if we have a 200 amp service, if we ever do some type of a project out here where we're gonna have displays with fire and EMS or whatever we would do in the parking lot, we would have electricity available for that use. But at this time, it would cost us approximately $13.50 a month to have that box out there versus trenching up our yard and getting everybody out here and getting everybody excited. I would be excited if I was a neighbor and I was going around a pressurized gas line. So we're going to move forward with that, and hopefully we can get something in place before winter. And I think that would be kind of nice for Saratoga. I think it would really help promote Saratoga by putting, check our agenda for this meeting, or we can put a lot of verbiage on there.
You think we can do the sign before we do?
Yes, they said if we would pass something yet this month or early next month, they'd have it done before the end of the year. So
Problem there is I think we gotta send that out for bids.
I agree if it's over 25,000. However, if Alliant pays 15, I was gonna ask Larry that.
And I don't know if that, I think the whole project, even if it does have private
Okay.
funding with it, it's not just our portion.
And that may have to happen, so,
That should be checked. We can check with Towns Association or the lawyer stuff.
okay.
Check with that, so.
And I will definitely check that. The last thing is, at our last meeting, we talked about waste management, and we have been getting contracts from them, however, each one has been wrong. So first of all, we wanted to find out the actual number of residential properties that we have. They quoted us 2,775. And when we did the research, we found that we have 2,330. Close. Okay, and so it's gonna save us a little money there. So, and then when the last contract came in, they neglected to put the free recycling container and garbage bin that they give to us. It was not in the contract. And I'm kind of a stickler, I like things spelled out, so I sent it back and asked them to put that in. What else we got?
I think Bill had a question if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah. Back to the electronic sign.
Sure.
I didn't look at the diagram or schematic long enough, but no, that's okay, you can answer my question.
Sure,
I'm assuming two-sided.
yes,
I'm assuming a message that is up for a period like 20 seconds.
you can do a time message
Can't
or,
we-
or rotating, either one,
We can't,
yes.
according to our sign ordinance.
We haven't even delved into that.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the sign. I did check, for signage, you can do like a black background and just red letters, no color whatsoever. We would have saved $150. So it didn't seem like that was a good thing, just for $150. He gave me some places to look at their signs and to see what they look like. And some of the signs with the lower pixels, let's call them pixels, they were blurry. When you read them, you couldn't distinguish the letters very well. So I did opt for the higher pixel sign. So, so that's why I chose this one, but you're right. Our sign ordinance, you can move, the letters can rotate, but there is a time limit that they have to show. You are absolutely correct.
The other question I had, if you look out the window right now, there's that fence out there that, I don't know, is that 5 foot, 6 foot?
Yes.
The bottom of that electronic message board
Mm-hmm.
is above the fence.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It's at about 6 foot. is what
Yes.
they-
And this tree here has to be removed. No matter where we would put the sign out front, it would have to be removed.
Can I ask one more thing?
Absolutely.
The sign company, the 37,000?
Yeah.
What was the name of the sign company?
Graphic House
Graphic.
out of Wausau.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Stratford sign was also, can I speak?
Absolutely.
Stratford sign was also, reference the work that you did prior, and then there was another firm out of Madison, it was Badger Sign, and they weren't very responsive after a couple communications, but maybe if these go out for bids, they might be a part of the process.
Agreed. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Jeff Manor, 876 Whitewater Trail. You're just talking about the trash bins.
Yes, sir.
Now, I was wondering, out on Silver Canoe Road,
Yes,
off from Z up to that first corner, somebody has dumped a bunch of drywall. About 8-10 sheets. And then on the other side is a garbage bag of deer carcass. Can that go in your bins or? 'cause
building
we have-
materials cannot.
Okay,
Deer carcass
but deer carcass, I can throw
I
that in the woods.
wouldn't. But,
The deer carcass, I can throw, but
yeah,
otherwise you gotta pay to take it to the landfill.
we'll let the guys know tomorrow.
Yeah, it just looks like hell.
We'll get it. Thank you.
All right, I got it wrong, but thank you.
We did have somebody dump off a couch and a chair and some,
Yeah, somebody dumped a boat there about
yeah.
3 years ago.
This guy that today though, we actually got him on camera, so
Good, I hope you do.
this is gonna be fun.
We could identify
I think so.
Yeah, fine, good.
it. So the cameras are working.
Thank you.
Well, it wasn't actually here.
Oh,
It was a concerned citizen who actually just got pictures. He said they looked suspicious. Good deal. All right, that's all I have. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. So we did vote on a phone system, that we would get this phone system and, when after we voted, I took it back and I reread it and I noticed that there was a 4 cents a minute charge for long distance calls. And I didn't catch it at first because nobody pays for long distance calls anymore. But on this phone system, we would have. So then I asked Paulette if we paid for their long distance calls, and we do, but we pay a certain amount, like $24.73 or something on our phone bill. So then I called Solaris. Oh, I always get it wrong. So I called Solaris and I said, hey, I said, I didn't notice this before, but you were gonna charge us 4 cents a minute. And I said, I don't wanna do that because our building inspector, he gets calls from builders, all different areas. Our zoning administrator to check on parcels, they're usually out of town. We're calling our attorneys who are, out of town. So how can we work this out? So she went back in our phone bills and looked for the last 6 months. And she said we've only spent $12 and something for the last 6 months. So she reduced it to 2.5 cents, and that'll make us about $7 a month. So, so then I went ahead and signed it, but that's kind of what's going on. Just a little interesting conversation there. Well, I guess everything else is on the agenda. Okay. Approval of the previous minutes. So, here.
For reference, they're break even on that, 24, or you'd have to have over 16 and a half hours worth of long distance calls.
Yeah.
Break even, which we probably.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be good. All right, so I would entertain a motion on the board meeting minutes from Wednesday, September 6th.
Make motion to approve the board minutes for September 6th.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for approval of the town board meeting minutes for Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. All those in favor? Aye. Those against? Okay, motion passes. Okay, moving on. We have 2 CSMs. Kevin Foley on Howard Road. And so we had a little discussion at the plan commission on this, correct? This was, he took lot 1 and he's dividing off a 1 acre parcel. Yep.
Yeah.
And according to our current zoning, this would be allowed. He's leaving a 5 acre parcel and taking off a 1 acre parcel. And the 1 acre parcel, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, that is where the business is that correct?
No, I have no clue.
Okay, I believe it is.
You're talking about Boomer's business?
I am talking about
Cause I
the
think,
corner of Tower Road and
Yeah.
Highway 73.
yeah, that was Boomer's business, and apparently this abuts his business.
Okay,
I didn't see the aerial photograph, but,
okay. So
the
the,
way it was explained, that's what it is.
okay,
And somebody has bought Boomer's business, so,
all right. So,
but like you say, everything is kosher as far as.
Yeah. so I would entertain a motion on this CSM.
And it fits all our current zoning.
It's compliant with current zoning, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the CSM for parcel number 18-004-0288.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase and a second by Roger to approve the CSM for Mike Osborne,
No.
No, Kevin Foley.
for Kevin Foley. Yeah, but Mike Osborne is the one who,
Oh, he's the one that bought the business.
yeah, and he's the one who certified, who asked for the survey, so.
No,
No, mine says Kevin.
not the
Okay.
one that I saw.
Okay, so we'll do it that way. Motion by Chase, second by Roger to approve the CSM. Requested. Where are you getting?
Oh, yeah, I see at the direction of Mike Osborne.
Yeah, you see that?
I feel like they're
But
buying.
doesn't the top Billy Joe
Mm-mm.
say Kevin?
It does.
It
Well,
does say
Kevin
Kevin
Foley, the
Foley,
owner
yeah.
is Kevin Foley, but the CSM was directed to be surveyed
No,
by,
we didn't see that.
okay.
That was-
Oh, yeah, actually,
Attached.
underneath it, it actually says file number Osborne,
It does.
but I believe they are buying
Nobody
that
ever
land
brought
from
that
him.
up at the commission meeting. But that don't make any
It
difference.
doesn't make a
No.
difference who did it, but,
Somebody did say that Osborne bought the business.
Yeah.
And that's as far as, excuse me, that's as far as it went.
I think
Doesn't make
I,
any difference.
yeah, I'm the one who said that he bought it, okay. So I have a motion by Chase, a second by Roger, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes. Okay. And then we have a second CSM submitted for Sean Weber on Hollywood Road. And that's splitting a parcel. There was a lot of discussion about this one because this is the one where it splits a usable parcel and a non-usable parcel. Lot number 1 is a 3 acre parcel and that's usable. Lot number 2 is 5.40 acres and it's very low land. I don't know how he's gonna build on there, but I guess he doesn't have to build.
They're already split by Hollywood Road there, correct?
Yeah,
See, that was the thing when I looked at it, there's an old CSM on that, 694, is it?
yep,
Like I said, I would have liked to seen 694. Because Hollywood Road has been there since the beginning of time. So why is he putting a CSM over top of a CSM?
well, from what I understand, Dan, the gentleman that's buying it is going to,
But that's not, we don't care.
I guess
That's
we
what I
don't,
said.
but,
What they're doing is okay, it's just strange that you're putting a CSM over top of a CSM.
wouldn't you split it the other way, just so you have a
Well-
buildable,
What's,
I don't know.
why go through the expense of putting a CSM over top of a CSM?
I agree.
Well, due to it fitting
It,
current
it
zoning.
does go with current zoning, it's leaving a
Actually, it looks like it's even.
5.5 acre lot and a 3 acre lot, and they're both in rural residential.
Yeah,
so
so
they're-
they're actually.
they're even gonna-
Zoning at that
yeah.
point.
They're gonna follow the new zoning and the old zoning.
I'll make a motion to approve CSM on parcel number 18-00671C.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase
I'll second the motion.
and a second by Roger to approve this CSM. All those in favor say?
Aye.
Aye. Those against?
That'll be interesting to see what happens there on that one. Because Rose seemed to have an idea of something going on there, so.
When she approached me, she mentioned that they were gonna split it the other way, so that half of the unbuildable lot and half of the buildable lot was split and the other half of the buildable lot on the hill. But it wasn't split that way, and I actually had the opportunity to talk to the owner. And I said, did you see this CSM? He said, yep, that's what I want. I said, okay, you're good. So, I don't know why they're doing it, no one ever knows why someone does something, but. So they want, okay, back-to-back meetings and per diem payments. Okay, this is me. I am the one who has brought this forward. And what this is sometimes we have a meeting, a special meeting, and then we have a town board meeting. And they are back-to-back, literally. And I always ask them to be that way so that my board and my clerk and my treasurer don't have to make 2 trips in. But I would like to make it official that if you have a back-to-back meeting and the meetings combined last less than 3 hours, you only get 1 per diem. If the meetings last more than 3 hours, you get 2 per diems.
And currently, it's every meeting gets a per diem.
Yes, every meeting gets a per diem. I personally don't feel it's right, but that is just me, that's not everybody, so, I think we need to have a discussion about it and vote on that.
I don't, I'm not in agreement with that. How much money does it cost the town? And you're still gonna pay, you're gonna pay some people per diems, and then you're not gonna pay your board members per diems, 2 per diems? And you're hinging it on a 3-hour time limit. I'm not in favor of it.
Okay.
It probably doesn't cost you more than $800 or $1,000 a year. And if I'm wrong, then I would request to have the information on how much it costs the town.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs the town, just didn't seem right to me, but, Chase?
In my opinion, we are here either way for at least one of the meetings. And I don't think it's unreasonable to combine per diems, 1 per diem for the 2 meetings. I think as far as serving our residents, that is a pertinent way to go, to be honest. Taking only the 1 per diem for both meetings.
Okay. Now, I did ask Paulette to send an email out to all of the board members. And so we did have input from all of the board members. The 2 that are not present, that are excused, do you remember what they had?
One felt comfortable with it going to 1 per diem, the other one, it didn't matter, it was either way,
Okay.
they were comfortable.
So this is on an agenda item tonight. Are you guys ready to vote, or do you want to put it on another agenda?
No, I'm not ready to vote. I'd like a table. I'm not in favor of it.
All right. We'll table it until we have a full board.
Because we have the input from those board members already. I'd hate to see this just go on for a formal vote.
I don't see the input from them. They're not in attendance.
Well, they don't have to be. We have a quorum, so do you want to vote on it?
I'd like a motion that we adopt the new rules for per diem for multiple meetings to a single per diem for multiple meetings lasting less than 3 hours combined.
Okay. I have a motion by Chase. I will second that. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve 1 per diem for meetings, combined meetings that are less than 3 hours. If over 3 hours, the board members would get 2 per diems.
You need something written out, Paul.
If you would, that would
You
be
wanna pass
great,
the
I've
card
got
over?
my. Oh, yes.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those against?
No,
No. Roger said no, and it passes 2-1.
discussion, you know, why don't you just run your meetings longer then? Carve them up. I mean, that, you're taking money out of, you're making your supervisors come in for extra meetings then, and you're not gonna pay extra. And you're gonna hold it within under 3 hours, and you're not gonna pay them.
Well, not all those
You
meetings can be
made a
combined
decision on
together.
it, I guess,
Do you-
move forward.
Do you think I'd do that?
I don't agree with it, so move on.
All right, moving on. Town hall design and remodel. As you know, our public works building is getting older by the day, and so is our town hall. And we have to think of the future and think of what we want to do with it. So I enlisted the aid of an architect to come in and give us some advice. He was not paid for his advice. I just asked him to come in and see what his thought was on the future of our buildings here in Saratoga. So the Public Works building is a pole building, and it is insulated. It is up on block, and it is rusting around the block. It does have an addition for a bathroom on the back, and that is in pretty sad shape. It's moldy. It's still usable. We have a town hall that we hold meetings in that everybody knows it's very loud, and we shut the heaters off and the air conditioning off so we can hold a meeting. It's not an insulated building. And it's expensive to heat. A couple of the heaters don't work. And that being said, so my question to the architect was, okay, what do you think we should do? Or what can we do that's in the cheapest, and I hate to use the word cheap, but the most effective and cost-effective way to move forward in Saratoga. So the suggestion was to add on just a hall onto this building on that end with 2 offices for possibly future expansion of the town growing, possibly a full-time person being here, or whatever we would use the office in the future for. A break room, which would include a refrigerator, a sink, and a microwave, and a table and chairs, not a stove. If we put a stove in, then we have to put an Ansel system in, and then that's just a lot of money. Don't want to do that. And then a very large storage area to bring the voting equipment over here, lock it securely, bring the table and chairs over here, and have them out of sight. That would be phase 1. Phase 2 would be putting overhead doors on this side of the old town hall, removing the suspended ceiling, removing the lighting that's currently in there, replacing it with LED lighting, removing the furnaces that don't work or just leaving them there, and putting in furnaces that belong in a shop. And adjusting the floor. The floor has to slope towards the doors for a mechanical building. Other than that, it would be in the future, going forward, when we expand the garage area, that we need more room in addition to that building, we would take out the stage area, the 2 step areas, and then we would expand that way. Adding on to a municipal building that may, in the future, you may need a lift, more building as the town grows. And then we would disconnect the water out of the current public works building, leave the heat there, but use it as cold storage. If we do need to heat it, if for some reason we need to work on a piece of equipment that we don't have room for in here, we can still utilize that building for repairs until it falls down around our ears. So I have been kind of checking on that because with the budget coming up, I'm thinking that we're gonna need to look to the future of the town of Saratoga. And to do all those things I just talked about now, we had an estimate of what did I do with it? I just had it here on the table. Here it is. Based on today's prices, ARC Central projects, the new administrative building addition in the range of $400,000 to $500,000. That's based on $200 per square foot. That would be based on a 2,000 to 2,500 square foot addition to accommodate approximately 110 people or 100 town board members, or 100 members, and 10 full-time members, and 100 chairs, 13 tables, which would be 8 people per table. Men's and women's bathroom, a break room with a refrigerator, microwave, and sink, 2 additional offices and more storage rooms for records and whatever. So just the addition here would be $400,000 to $500,000. Now, that's at today's price, and that's $200 a square foot, which in my estimation, that's kind of low. I know it sounds high to you guys, but this is a commercial entity, so I think it's a little low. But I'm thinking that we need to, look for the future of the town of Saratoga. We gotta look at our machines, we gotta look at our infrastructure, roads, machines, buildings. We gotta think of the future, so. That was my spiel. Does anybody have anything they want to question or talk about or advise or?
Now, this would need to come in front of a referendum, correct?
Oh, sure, yeah,
So,
we're no.
I think we're looking at the earliest would be spring elections next year.
Yeah, but we're not,
That on.
yeah. And just to give you an idea too, that is the cost of the buildings. So blueprints for a commercial building would probably run $4,000 to $5,000. So that's a lot of money. I mean, we'd have to be sure that's what we want to do before we would put that kind of money out there. But I think it's something we really gotta think about for Saratoga. Moving on, the camera system for the town hall to record the meetings. We currently have one that you guys can see it here. We move it back and forth. So we're trying to find something that's inexpensive that we can put in here, leave it in here, and leave that one over there.
And we did previously get a quote from, for a camera system similar to this, but hooked up to a Nook computer. Can't remember what the exact price of that quote was.
Wasn't that like 3,500 or something?
It was a lot,
Yeah,
cause I said,
somewhere in that neighborhood. So I went around looking for some other options, with a lot of different criteria of being easy to operate, kind of a plug and play type device where we would not need it hooked up to a certain person's computer. So we could record a little easier. And there are a lot of meeting cameras out there. And the one I found to meet that the best was by a company called Candau. And looking at their Meeting Ultra Standard, which is the one I've got in front. I know the Owl Labs was previously brought up at that time. The issue with the Owl is it is not compatible with external microphones. And it will, if you use external microphones, it gets confused and will not focus on people properly. On top of that, I'm not sure if we want a camera that actually does focus on individual people and pops in. This camera has several different modes. One of them, it's still a 360-degree camera, and it can kind of do a split screen where it will show everybody on there. But it can also function to where it will focus on it. But it's got a lot of different modes that you can use. It also it can record directly onto it, it's got an Android operating system, and it does have capabilities to, if we choose in the future to do like YouTube Live, it would be able to do live meetings as well.
Can we use, can we use ARPA funds to this, or do we,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, all right.
This would qualify under ARPA funds. One thing to note with this, this does need to be hooked up to a screen for us to operate it. So we would need to buy a screen as well.
Do you know how much a screen would cost?
Well, it can be as simple as a TV, so depending on what we wanted for a TV. My thought is, this unit would probably be better in this room here.
Small.
Smaller room. If we had it located right in front, we could put one or even multiple screens on a stand in there and do a small, like 24-inch
Okay.
TV hooked up to it that you could control it with.
What
You
kind
could
of,
even put 3 of them on, so they're facing all 3 sides of the table. I think that's pretty low cost. I think,
what kind of warranty does it have, do you know?
I
I don't see anything
will
in
be
here.
honest with you, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
And this would end up being a kind of a DIY type of thing. We're gonna have to figure this all out ourselves to
Okay,
operate, where the other one, he was gonna come in and trade us all out. So I think we could figure it out.
I think,
Yeah.
And the price on this one was $13.99. So
plus a screen.
plus a screen, plus a cabinet. If you figure $200 to $300 for that, you're looking in somewhere in the range of $1,700.
What kind of cabinet? Just a table or?
Just something that you can set that on.
Oh, I
and
can
attach the
build
screen
that.
to,
I'll
yeah.
build
So, I mean, I think a small, high definition TV runs like $60. If you
Okay.
get just a little 24-inch. So, and if you, like I said, we could even
Sure, a
put
lot,
3 sides of a cabinet and
lot
that's
better
pretty
than
good.
30-some hundred that we were looking at before.
So, whether this is 100% exact option, there are hundreds of different models out there, and most of them I was able to eliminate pretty quick, just
Okay,
because of different features, but,
Why don't we motion it, second it, to not exceed like $2,000 or the most advantageous recording system for the town
2,000.
meetings, or something like that. Is that reasonable, or?
I think so.
should be reasonable. And
Yeah.
there were a few questions I had. A representative of the company actually did call me and talk to me. They had not actually tested their unit as far as doing YouTube live streaming, and they actually put it through the tests to make sure that was possible. And got back to me, that was part of the email back then.
So that's reference here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
it's really nice.
And the guy who called, I was a little nervous because it's a Chinese company, but the guy actually was from California that called me and worked out everything, and he's their rep in the US here, so.
I would like to know what kind of warranty though. Yeah.
Reference that at all, Chase? The one-
It's probably on the website, to be honest, but I do not have it on there.
Well, we can accept as contingent on checking out the warranty and not exceeding the budget.
I need something.
Yeah, we do.
The sooner we can get it to where we got one in each
No.
meeting, the less.
I know it takes Paulette a lot of time to set this up. I hate to see her doing this all the time. All right, I'll entertain a motion. What do you guys?
Since I did the research, I would prefer not to make that motion.
Okay. Are you prepared, Roger?
Written out all of it, or?
Sure. Sir?
Candau.
Yeah, looks like K-A-N-D-A-U.
Candow Meeting Ultra Standard.
So I'll make a motion to purchase a recording system for town hall meetings. I'll write it down. To not exceed $2,000 purchasing a system most advantageous for town recording purposes. Are reasonable?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Roger and a second by Chase to purchase a camera for recording in the small meeting room for no more than $2,000. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Those against, motion passes. Any discussion out there, you guys?
Well, just one,
Sure, Bruce.
Bruce did do we have any feedback from the citizens? Are they using what we currently are doing?
I've got a couple.
I have not myself, but I also haven't heard any complaints that we haven't been communicating, and I know that was a common complaint before, that people were not able to get information they needed. So I guess the lack of complaints sometimes speaks louder than actual praise.
And I have been hearing that sometimes it's kind of choppy at the end. So it must be something with our recording that it must be getting,
Oh, and
Well, and it's a free software that it is recording onto, so maybe
Oh.
that has something to do with it.
okay.
And I did also ask them to address how much per hour would be recorded, and if we use 1080p, it can go 4K, but I don't think we actually need that. 1080 would record 4 to 5 gigabytes per hour. So,
That's okay.
that's doable with that. So,
Yes.
I was just on recently, and there's not a lot of views, but there are views on the,
Good.
there's not hundreds, but there's a couple.
Well, it's got to get out there.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know they're available.
Yeah. It's got to get out there. And that's where a sign will be helpful. I mean, I can see the vision for that sign being helpful for a lot of things here.
and unfortunately, at the moment, to communicate that to our residents, we don't have a huge amount of followers on the Facebook site either. So if, that sign would help, put something up there, view our meetings.
Yeah.
On a website or something.
But I use the town website quite a few times just to get into the GIS. And so I see it, more than normal. I look at the agendas and I look at
Now, this
different
is
properties, so.
part of trying to tie all that together too, so if people are looking at the Facebook sites, they can get connected with our website.
You still can't go from your website to Facebook.
Do you find our sites cumbersome? Anybody out there?
Well, it's better than it was.
Well, there's,
Yeah, Bruce.
actually, I find that the site works pretty well, but it was interesting this evening, and I'm sure it was just a glitch. But all of a sudden, the agenda disappeared for tonight's
Yes.
meeting.
Probably time-wise, you might have it set up that at 6 o'clock it disappears or 5 o'clock. I just printed it out and it was
What I noticed on there,
after 5, I think, when I printed it out.
what I noticed on there is, because before I was up here and out in the audience, every once in a while, come up and I'd try to look up the agenda on the phone. As soon as that time hits when it says the meeting starts, it comes off that current page.
Oh.
And you can still access it if you go into the calendar and meetings, but it does come off that current page when you do that. And I don't know if that's something we can address.
I think that's our timer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's probably something, when it connects to the calendar, comes off of the upcoming meetings, because it's no longer upcoming.
As far as the main page, yeah, I never look at calendar.
So just to let everybody know, our security system is up and running. It's been up for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. When they installed it, the first thing that happened is one of the cameras didn't work. It was broke, so they had to send it back and get us a new camera. Second thing is that it quit working, and then we had to call them out, and they came right out. Very expedient, same day, and fixed it. The following time, we lost internet, and we can't contribute that to the security system, but it's just kind of weird that things are happening. My computer doesn't want to print to the printer now, and it'll print to Billy Joe's, which I can't get in and get my stuff. But a lot of things have been happening, and when we call them out to work on it, they claim that this is one system that the driver, is that the correct terminology?
It's a Linux versus Windows.
It's, yeah, and they said they quoted a Linux because it was cheaper, and I wish we would have known that, because we would have upgraded to the Windows, because that's what they're familiar with working on. And so now it's like they're not familiar with what they're working on, but they've been very expedient about coming out and fixing it. And Paulette has it on her computer, Billy Joe has it on her computer, and I know it's on mine somewhere. And Mary also has it on her computer. We need it on those 3-4 places in case something does happen, that we have access to that room, and we're the only ones with the keys. So that's how it's being monitored. It can go on a cell phone, but I see no reason for that at all. Because if something happens, we're not gonna be looking at it on our cell phones. And we're gonna notice when something happens. We'll be told, and then we'll have the police out here, and they can access the security system much better than we can anyway. We don't really get into that, right? So that's what's happening on our security system. All right, moving on to number 12, discussion on short-term and long-term disability. Billy Joe, I asked you to research this a little bit. Do you have some information?
And what I did, well, the ETF, currently you had spoken with them, and when I spoke to them last year regarding this, when I gave it to the previous board, there was an option to do that for the short and long term, but now you said you spoke with them and they've removed that. I did contact, the company that you had left the reference to. They do not do the short and long term disability. I contacted, that's what they told me, after, I think it was either 5 or 6 transfers of phone numbers, they told me that they did not do that. So.
Interesting, because I have it through them.
That's what they told me. And so I contacted the county and asked them who they have, and they have Mutual of Omaha, the Wood County Courthouse.
Yes.
And so I contacted them, and the lady misunderstood apparently what I called them, and that didn't work either. They said, no, you should email. So I emailed them, and that was very difficult, Bruce, it really was. And then she messaged back and said that she needs our policy number, and I said, no, we're looking for a quote. And I went down and looked at what I typed, and I'm thinking, that's exactly what I asked for, but, so, still working on it, getting that information from her, but I thought, if the county is using it, I'm thinking it's, a good thing. But we'll get some numbers from them and see where it goes.
Perfect. The reason that I brought this forward is because most companies do offer this to their employees as an option for them to purchase, or a company will contribute to part of it. But if we're gonna be having employees, I would like to have them to have options available to them. You can purchase dental insurance, you can purchase eyeglass insurance or eye insurance. So I would like to have them have the option for short-term disability in case, something happens, heaven forbid. But, so we're checking on that. All right,
So once I hear something and get something, I'll definitely get it out to the board so you all can review it. But until then, until I get some actual numbers and information in front of me, it's not an easy task. But if you have a specific phone number, because I went on,
Contact person.
okay, because I searched it and called them.
No, they don't do the long-term disability necessarily. It's
Well, then maybe he just, he just told me we don't offer that.
Well, and it might go by another, it's not technically a short-term disability, there's an accident protection plan, there's even involving cancer, there's 4 different plans.
Oh, he didn't even, I had no other options.
Didn't try to sell you anything, huh?
Didn't try to sell us anything.
I'll see if I can find the paperwork that I
Okay.
have, because we just signed on with them this spring. actually.
Okay,
So
then I can follow up. Yep,
I'll
Thank you.
thank
I'll
you.
bring that in. It's not necessarily traditional, it's similar to Aflac, but a little bit different.
And it's good to give the employees a few options or, you
Yep.
know.
I agree.
That's gonna work.
I agree. All right, moving ahead. 13, one-day beverage license, American Legion Post 442. They're having a party?
They're having spaghetti dinner, and because
Oh,
they're-
yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, they're
That's
bona
very
fide club,
good.
so they have the opportunity to do a one-day beverage
Awesome.
license.
Yeah. And you checked it out?
I'll make a motion for a one-day beverage license for the American Legion Post 442. September 20th.
I will second that.
I have a motion by Roger and a second by Chase to authorize a one-day beverage license to American Legion Post 442 at 10929 Highway 13 South for the date of
October 21st.
October 21st, 2023.
Sure you're going to that?
I am.
What day is that?
That's, the 21st is a
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, so that's right before, okay. Towns Association.
I know, I missed the last one, but, okay. So, I have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes.
Now, just for future reference, when we're talking about these, does that one day take up one of our?
Nope.
Okay.
No, because they can only serve beer.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not, the only ones that take out one of our licenses for the town are like the intoxicating liquors,
Okay,
so. Yeah, we're good.
so that, somebody's gonna ask for one day for that, I wouldn't
Yeah.
think,
Yeah,
but
yep, we're good.
Operators licenses?
There should have been 2 of them.
Yeah, you got Kristen Hoffman, Bruce Roadhouse, and Ariana Kennedy, Saratoga, New York.
anything come up in background checks?
Everything was good.
Make motion to approve those for Chrissy Hoffman and Ariana Kennedy.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to authorize operator licenses for Kristen Hoffman and Ariana Kennedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes. All right, public input. You guys got anything else to say? Bill, your hand went up really fast. What can I do for you?
So Bill Lightnum, 13413 Hollywood Road. I think this is back to item 5, the informational announcements.
Sure.
I think, Lorelei, that's where you were talking about, the vision you had for building projects
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Okay, so I was trying to wrap my head around that. You used terminology that I haven't used in the past,
I'm
so,
sorry.
this is me.
Okay.
So you're saying that all 3 buildings, what I would have called the shop, the banquet hall, and the administrative offices
Sure.
would be involved in this project, all 3 buildings? Is that, did I understand that right?
They're involved, but only 2 would be remodeled, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The third one would have the bathroom room.
Well, we're just turning off the water. I would probably, yeah.
Okay, and then I heard you quote a price for this building, which you said you thought was low.
For the addition,
At
yes.
400 to 500,000.
Yes.
And it does sound low to me too, but then you mentioned a million number, 1 point, and you never finished your. So
Well,
then
when
the combined project
yeah, for everything.
would be 1 point,
I think about 1.1 is what was tossed around, but I don't have it on paper, Bill, I'm
Okay.
sorry. But I would think that that would be more accurate for the whole thing than just this addition.
and then that 200 square foot amount that you mentioned would be a combined for all of the project.
It's a $200 per square foot,
Yeah.
and that's at today's rate.
That's the new building.
Yeah,
Right,
that's,
So that'd be,
yeah,
That's the
For-
new building. okay.
Yeah.
for building,
I'm sorry.
the new addition onto here.
yeah, I'm sorry.
The remodel, I don't think was in
No,
on that at
no.
all.
And then a spring referendum is in the offing, or that might be too soon?
We haven't really delved into this a whole lot. This just came up probably 3 weeks ago, that because of the budget, I wanted to know for future,
I guess
what we should be looking
my
at.
opinion of it is building costs are going through the roof.
Yeah.
Every day they seem to be going up. So if
So
we,
is this, I suppose I should state back up again, is this an item that would be put like on the October 4th for your whole board to discuss? And then more of this planning would eventually
this will probably come
trickle out
up
to,
in our budget meeting, which I believe is the 18th, is that when we're looking at?
Oh, we're gonna meet on the 4th. And we'll just kind of work on the budget.
Okay, is that the
like,
fourth? Okay,
kind
was
of
that the fourth? Yeah.
At 5 o'clock, just preparation.
Yeah, so we'll probably do some discussion there, I would think.
Let me take a step back though. How this all started is the USDA came out with a grant. Okay, they have a grant for adding on to municipal buildings, municipal structures is what it's called. And they have a preliminary grant. Let's call it a preliminary grant procedure. You fill out this paper and then they tell you if you even qualify for the grant before you even start the process. So I did that. And I thought, well, you know, before we even find out if there's money out there for us, we better see if we even qualify for it. Well, and then I got thinking, oh, I'm going to my eye doctor, I got no glasses, which I have on, but anyway, it's right next door to the bank. So I walked across and talked to Patty He, who is our banker, and I mentioned that, you know, if we would go forward, what is the process and how does it work for municipal buildings? Since she sat on the board, I think she knows what's going on. And she said at this point in time, she said Saratoga is in a very unique position because we have no debt. And she said that works for you and against you. So it actually did work against us because the grant was turned down based on that we had no debt. So there was no reason for us to ask for a grant. So going back to Patty He, she said if we were ever gonna borrow money on this, she wouldn't suggest doing it at this time because the rates are so high. But she forecasts them coming down probably in the spring. I don't know that I see us moving forward quite that fast because when you talk about building or construction, you're, even if you know you're gonna do it, you need a year to do it. And that's if you know you're gonna do it, because you have so many things you have to do. So, in your answer to would we put this on the referendum for the spring, my answer right now would be probably not. I don't wanna say absolutely not, but I would say probably not. I don't think we can get stuff done that fast.
thank you for all that clarity.
I'm sorry. Was it clear? I hope so. It's as clear as I can get it today. Anyone else, please? Yes, Bruce.
Yeah, you mentioned the progress on the zoning ordinance
Yes.
earlier. And and you said it's on the website this morning.
It is.
And then I did not look.
Oh, yes, it is.
Does that mean that you are anticipating a vote in 2 weeks?
I am.
And at one point, we were, not me, but you, were proposing that we get an awful lot of publicity out there, well, one way or another, to get a lot of townspeople to show up for that meeting.
Yeah,
So are we going to do that?
yeah, I was hoping to, yeah. Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, I don't know how to go about it other than what we normally do, you know, by posting it, putting it on the website,
Putting it on Facebook.
putting it on Facebook. If you have other suggestions, I'm sure welcome to listen. But at this point in
I'll
time.
put it on your, signs not gonna be done.
I know, right? I know. But that is the kicker. That got me thinking about the sign. But, yeah, I would really like to have a lot of input. At this point in time, the 1, 3, and 5 acres are in it. The, and meeting back with the plan commission, everything that I had suggested going forward was put into it, basically. Unless the plan commission said, oh, we gotta discuss it. And if they said that, then it totally got dropped and it's gonna be sent to the board members to look at. the points of contention, I wanna call them. So I haven't got that outline done yet. I'm hoping to get that done tomorrow to get to the board members. Because I want people to compare the old ordinance to this new one. And I hope that they have the old one because we took the old one off, right?
Yes.
So, please compare them, give me feedback, because I'm definitely not perfect, and Billy Joe took minutes, I took minutes, and some of them, they weren't the same, so please take a look at them. I hope they're good. I hope it's good.
So did Gordy look at the minutes that Billy Joe took and you took, and
Yeah.
what's his input on it?
To come back and give them the minutes that I took that are different than hers, which is what I said I'm doing tomorrow. So,
Question.
hold on.
Dave-
Yes, sir.
Dave Carell, Evergreen Avenue. You're talking about getting public input for this zoning thing and you want input.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea to maybe put something in the Rapids Weekly. Everybody gets one in their mailbox whether they like it or not. They read them, they look at them.
Oh, that little, okay,
City
that
Times.
Riverdale,
City Times.
Riverside thing? Is that what
Well,
it's called?
that's, whatever that
Rivers-
weekly.
I think it's
Okay,
City Times.
that's a good idea.
It's the
That's a
weekly,
good idea.
Yeah.
well, it's called the
Comes
Rapids
every
Weekly.
It costs
Well, not only that, but I don't know if I could make the deadline.
before October 4th,
Yeah, them
Oh,
cutoffs are,
yeah.
that cutoff is even worse than the paper.
15 days.
I don't
I think-
remember what it is, but that one is worse than sending it to the Tribune.
You gave me a note and it's up on my desk.
I mean, I
What the
can
cutoff
look,
is.
but.
Yeah, we will try.
Worth a phone call.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll
that's
try.
over 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah, but I think they have a 15-day.
Their cutoff is
I can
way
check in
worse
my
than the
office.
paper.
When she told me that, I thought that was a long time, so I wrote it down on a piece of paper and I attached it to my wall. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. We'll definitely try that. Yeah, even if it costs, that's negligible compared to what we can get for public input. Anybody else? All right. Pay the town bills. Anything look rough in there, guys? Thank you for coming.
Looks like we got most people on direct deposit here now.
Yep. How many do we have left to go on direct deposit?
There's one yet, and
Okay.
there will be notice going with the paycheck. And then there's, I guess, another one, but he'll be done at the end of the season, so I wasn't even gonna worry about that for the
All right,
transfer site, so.
Make a motion to approve paying bills.
read this already, I don't want to read it again.
So the new lawyer that we hired, what is he under here? What name?
We've only gotten one bill from him and it was for, how much? 600? It was-
It wasn't much at all.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like 600, but he hasn't sent any bills.
Okay.
I need a motion, boys.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase and a second by Roger to pay bills. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes. We need your John Henry. And items for future meetings, I think we've already discussed that unless Roger, you have something? Or Chase?
Did have something, but to be honest with you, I forgot.
And I will try to have, if you can get me that information between that and me trying to get a hold of Mutual Omaha again, possibly for the next meeting, I could have
Yep.
something.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll set the date for the next meeting, October 4th. Oh, wait, we have a budget meeting here.
That's October 4th, at
That's-
5 o'clock, and then
Okay,
so from 5 to 6 will be strictly working on the budget, and then 6 o'clock will be the traditional.
and just to let you know, I'm gonna limit input when we're talking about the budget so we can hurry and get it done. But you'll have your say, but not until kind of at the end, okay? You guys got anything out there wanna talk about? Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. You wanna talk about?
No, I wanted to stay here a little longer, so, yeah, I'll second.
toothbrush. Okay, I have a motion by Chase and a second by Roger to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Aye.